of management program from the financial management discipline. It is MMPF 003 on the topic management control systems. I am ASSEM Kumar. I am the resource person for this particular dissemination. Today we are going to cover block 1 on the title management control concepts and the context, where we are going to cover unit number 1 on management control systems and introduction, and unit 2 strategies and management control. So let us just start with unit number 1, management control systems and introduction. Let us just first understand the definition and purpose of management control and how it behaves, the nature of it. See, broadly, a management control system refers to the design, installation, and operation of management, planning, and control system. Planning and control system. The term management control systems emphasizes two distinct but highly interrelated and sometimes indistinguishable subdivisions of the control system. The organizational structure or relationships among the units, divisions in the organization, more specifically the responsibility centers, the relationship among responsibility centers, performance measures, and the information that flows among these responsibility centers. The process or set of activities or steps or decisions that are taken by an organization or manager to establish purposes, allocate resources, and achieve organizational purposes. Friends, Anthony and Dearden in 1981 provided the following definition. The definition says management control is the process by which managers assure that resources are obtained and used effectively and efficiently in the accomplishment of organization's goal. See, the resources utilization is the prime objective of it, effectively and efficiently in the accomplishment of organizational goal. Okay. Subsequently, this definition has been modified. See, earlier, Anthony and Dearden in 1981, they had given the definition about management control system, but later it was modified and refined by Anthony and Govindraj in 1994, exactly after 13 years. The modified and refined definition is as follows. Management control is the process by which managers influence other members of the organization to implement the organization's strategies. A sea change. Now, it is linked with the strategic part also, the planning and the control system is coming out to be with the new era. They further state that management control involves a variety of activities. These include planning what the organization should do, the foremost thing of the management, coordinating the activities of several parts of the organization, communicating information, evaluating information, deciding what, if any, action should be taken, and finally, influencing people to change behavior. See, accepting the change is a tedious task, and see, first you have to just change the behavior, then only these changes could be accepted. So, influencing people to change the behavior. Let us now understand the characteristics of management control system. An organization's management control system should have the following characteristics. First, the management control system should be tightly integrated with the company's plans and objectives, neck to neck. Second, management control system should be tailored to the organizational structure and individual managers' decision-making responsibilities. Again, the knitting should be like this, that it should be according to the structure, and whatever decision the managers they are supposed to take according to their responsibilities, the control mechanisms should also be discussed and formulated, because the decision of the manager for marketing would be different from the decisions of the finance manager. Third, effective management control system should also use a variety of rewards related to the fulfillment of organizational goals to encourage managers and employees to put out extra effort towards achieving those goals. See, when you are just putting a control system, there is another moment also that you have to encourage the members, managers, employees to put extra effort if suppose they are just falling back, so that at least the goals could be achieved. What are the factors which are influencing the design of management control systems? Let us just understand. Enterprise size and spread. A large firm's size and spread will almost certainly differ from those of a small firm. The quantum of delegation would be there. Centralization and decentralization would be a major component. This would almost probably define the content and nature of each organization's control system. So, enterprise size and its spread. Second thing is organizational form. What kind of form it is, whether it is the sole proprietor, whether it is a partnership, whether it is a company or a cooperative society, or it's a public entity. So organization form, delegation and decentralization. In all the business statutes and conventions control the structure of the organization as well as the level of decentralization and delegation. Okay. The State Bank of India's management philosophy, for example, is sure to differ from that of the State Trading Corporation. Precisely. In addition, the degree of decentralization and delegation within an organization varies over time to respond to changing environment problems and opportunities. All of these influence management control systems that are interconnected. See, suppose there is a degree of decentralization, it is more, somewhere it is less, somewhere the delegated powers are there, somewhere the powers are not there. So definitely it is influencing the management control systems because it is interconnected. According to the decisions, only the decentralization or delegation has been given. Third, operational nature and divisibility. The nature of operation and their divisibility have an impact on management control systems. Subunits in all the oil industry, for example, cannot be formed only based on items produced. Many large trade companies, on the other hand, can create divisions depending upon the products. The several stages of pulp manufacturing in the paper industry cannot be divided for management control, although pulp production as a whole can be regarded as a division. Fourth, after knowing the operational nature and divisibility, different types of responsibility center. So responsibility center, what is their responsibility? What they are supposed to do? What is their do's and don'ts? So each of the organization's responsibility center or sub-systems require a different control mechanism and system. Whether a responsibility center's performance is measured in terms of expenses, profitability, or return on investment. It is always depends on the sort of responsibility center. on the sort of responsibility center. For example, in case of banks, there are transactional differences between branches. Some are deposit heavy, while others are advance heavy. See, in the industrial area, definitely the advances would be more, deposit would be less. Deposit would be there, but then their advancement would be more to the industries, so that at least they can earn profits. They can earn interest out of that. And some feature safe deposit boxes or foreign exchange operations, while others do not. It may so happen that in the area where we have the, say, multinational corporation, there you need to have a foreign exchange operations also. Or in the MSC area, definitely you need to have the foreign exchange operations also on a routine basis. Whereas the village, say, or a small territory bank will not be just doing so, because it is not their cup of tea. So as a result, profit cannot be sole metric used to assess the success of all the branches. Okay. As a result, different subunits need to use different control systems with different performance requirements. Although those who are having the deposit heavy, they are supposed to just transmit that amount to the places where these could be advanced, so that at least bank as a whole could just have the profits. People and their perception, employees' opinion of the control system, expected implication on their work life, job happiness, job security, promotion, and overall well-being may vary from one organization to the next. These elements will have a significant impact on the nature and content of the management control system that the organization requires, and they must be considered while developing management control systems. All right. Let us now understand the objectives of management control system. Objectives of management control system: to keep track of progress. See, if you want to achieve the goals, definitely it has got a track, it has got a progression, it has got the steps. So we have to keep the track that there should not be any fallout, there should not be any deficiency, there should not be any backlog. So that at least you can just take out a sort of consistent development in terms of progress. To find out whether there are any variances, yes, there could be. If the variances are according to their nature, fine, fair enough. But if it is the same unit, but the variances are coming because of the efficiency or maybe some other arena, so we have to address that. Okay. The following are the key forces that can cause an organization to go astray. Change, any change in the structure, in the delegation, or maybe there are certain mistakes also which is just happening. Maybe it is just falling only because of the lame excuses or the silly mistakes the staff or the officers are doing. And the fourth one is complexity. Maybe the system is very simple, but then the one who is to implement is not that learned enough, therefore is finding it complex. So complexity is according to the individual's perception, individual's educational level. So complexity, if it is, definitely it will be just, say, coming out to be a sort of varying decisions in different units. To indicate that corrective action is required. Now, if you need training to be given, yes, you have to give them training. If suppose they have to just say no about certain things in theory part, they have to be known, because ultimate factor is that there should not be any mistake, or the worker should not feel it as complex. Types of management control systems. We have, broadly speaking, we will be having two domain in the management control system. The first one is formal, the other one is informal. So let us just understand the drill. Control systems in an organization fall under two broad areas, formal and informal. Formal controls are laid down in writing by the management, whereas informal controls arise as a result of employees' behavior. Example, formal controls are budget, plans, regulations, and codes. Informal controls include group norms, organizational culture. Formal controls are framed by the managers, whereas informal controls often originate with employees and are affected by general socio-culture factors. All right, socio-culture factors. So formal, of course, we can just say it can be framed by the managers, whereas informal, it is originating with the employees only. And whatever socio-culture factors they have, accordingly they will just behave, and accordingly they will just pose the problem or otherwise the success. Friends, both formal and informal control system are part of management control system. A formal control system necessitates the existence of explicit rules, procedures, guidelines, and plans relating to many managerial issues. Such things are required to guide, direct, motivate, and coordinate the behavior of managers and other employees to achieve organizational goals. So these are broad guidelines. These are a broad framework which is formal control system is providing to achieve the organizational goals. Management control systems that are used informally are always unwritten and implicit. You see, for the informal system, definitely you are always thinking for that how best we can just have the dialogue. So nothing in writing, but only a discussion, and motivation also through discussion only, to understand the explicit problem and to give the least written things and implicit control. Okay. They do, however, may make a significant contribution to the implementation of the company goals and strategies, as well as assisting the organization in achieving high level of motivation and goal alignment. Friends, unwritten rules are very much addressing the human approach. Therefore, the unwritten rules concerning good behavior among managers and employees, loyalties, shared values, organizational culture and ethics, and mutual commitments among its managers and employees are the example of informal management control system. Informal management control system. Let us just have the broader understanding of formal control system. Formal control systems are written management, as we have already said. Management initiated mechanism that influence the behavior of the employees in achieving the organization's goal. Formal controls can be classified into these three types based on the nature of management intervention. They are input control, the input, how it would be just going to the seniors. Process control, where how this process would just end, and output control. What kind of mechanism it would have so that at least the worker or the family members or the friends, even if they are just coming on the rise, we must be able to understand what is the output control, because beyond that you cannot just go. This is your outer limit. Okay, input could be 100, but then output, if it is limited to 300, say 30, it should be 30. Beyond 30, it would be an extravagant expense. All right, friends. Informal control systems. These are unwritten, typically worker-initiated and mechanisms that influence the behavior of individual or groups in business units. There are three types of informal control. They are self-control, social control, and cultural control. Self-control, there are certain things which you can just control it according to your wisdom, according to your educational qualification, and according to the mandate given to you. Social control, that means there is some kind of movement where at least the social say arena is just watching you for the evaluation purposes, right? So once they are just coming out with the social controls, the things are going beyond your control, little beyond your control, because now the society is also looking at you, and they are pointing out as and when the things are getting deteriorated. The third one is cultural control. Cultural control is beliefs. It is because of the beliefs, religions, and the other similar parameters. The cultural control. There is someone who would be totally vegetarian, or maybe there is someone who could be taking meat sometime, but all the way they are vegetarian. So that's why the cultural control is just coming out to be the different beliefs and religions, or maybe sometime the processing, we are just finding it out. Friends, the four levers of control were developed by Robert Simons in the 1990s from his study of management control practice. The four levers comprise diagnostic control, interactive control, boundary systems, belief systems. Now, let us just understand what are these four levers. The four levers of control were developed by Robert Simons in the 1990s from his study of management control practice. These four levers comprise diagnostic control, interactive control, boundary systems, and belief systems. More or less, we are just coming up the upper part, which is just giving you the other language or little more refined by Robert Simons. Organizational structure and control process. Friends, the control process would solely be depending on the organizational structure and delegation of power. So we will be just focusing on the organizational structure as of now. If it is just coming out to be the functional one, or it is divisional one, or it is just the otherwise, accordingly the control process would also be different. For a proper understanding of control process, it is important to understand the nature of organizational structure. Organizational structure. So what are the structures? The following are the broad forms of organizational structure. First one is functional structure. Second one is divisional structure. Third one is matrix structure. And fourth one is network structure. Each has got its own beauty. Each has got its own sphere of control mechanism. Each has got their responsibility center with different flavors. In normal control system, a responsibility center is usually built around financial responsibility. Say for cost, revenue, profit, and investment. but also uses non-financial measures based on salary critical variables. Based on critical variables. The principal types of financial responsibility centers are as follows. First one is the cost center, where you are just incurring the cost, at least developing the product. Second one is revenue centers, where you just sell them out, sell those products, and you earn and you generate the revenue. So it is called revenue centers. But with the revenue center and cost center, we just go down to the next level. Same, of course, it is not coming out to be different because you need a counter reference in the cost center and revenue centers. Because you have to understand the profit only by matching the cost and revenue. So the profit would be resultant figure of matching revenue and cost. And finally, once you have the profits, you have the funds, you can think of the investment also. Two different places where you could earn more profits and you can yield some more adapts in your profit and loss account. All right, friends. Now let's just look at the foreign ownership, control, or influence, FOCI. When a foreign interest has the power, direct or indirect, whether exercised or not, and whether or not exercisable to direct or decide matters affecting the management or operation of a company in a way that could result in unauthorized access to classified information or adversely affect the performance of classified contracts, the company is considered to be operating under FOCI. It is foreign ownership, control, or influencing. The following factors relating to a company, the foreign interest and the government of foreign interest are reviewed in aggregate in determining whether the company is under FOCI or not. Right? Record the economic and government espionage. Record of enforcement and engagement of in unauthorized technology transfer. The type and sensitivity of the information that shall be accessed. The extent of FOCI. Precisely, one has to understand the control mechanism and that to the level also. Record of compliances with law, regulations, and contracts. Of course, it is the compliance. Then only you can just think of how much controlled mechanism they have. And the nature of any bilateral, multilateral security and information exchange agreement that need pertain. And finally, ownership or control in whole or in part by foreign government. It depends once again, maybe it is policy or the strategic move that despite having the funds, if you are invoking for the other governments, other vendors to come and join with you as a sort of investor, then the circumstantial evidences are to be there. Ethics and management control systems. Ethics and management control system. At the organization level, ethics failures occur because norms are not properly designed. Ethical failure are essentially control failure. Because you cannot just come out successfully because of certain other shortcomings. Maybe it is educational, performance, or otherwise, planning. While internal audit can check frauds and misappropriation, ethical misconduct can be checked only through properly designed norms and study center. Norms and standards. Norms and standards. Because then only with the norms and standards only the internal audit would just see whether it is the ethical misconduct or it's a smooth sail. In recent times, the ethical dimension of corporate behavior and conduct has been received wide attention in the field of management. Several organizations have drawn up ethical codes for ethical codes of conduct for their operations. Okay. Now let us just understand impact of internet on the management. It is precisely the technology part also. The information revolution began with the invention of the computer and escalated in the 1990s with the introduction of the internet. The internet offers significant advantages in the following ways. Ease of instant access. In this way, and age, a massive amount of data may be communicated to anybody on the goes in a matter of seconds. Second is B is multi-targeted communication. The internet one to many reach significantly increase. A single web entry can reach millions of people. No cost communication, communicating with the customers over the internet saves money over on telephone operator pay. The ability to display images, customer can view the product for sale via internet. Individualizing authority and control. Consumers are in charge and can access the internet at their leisure. 24 hours a day without being interrupted or influenced excessively by sales personnel or telemarketer. Got it? Why? Because again, according to the say extent of decentralization, delegation, the design would also be taking shape accordingly. General consideration in designing a management control system. It's a function of management that helps to check errors to take corrective actions. This is done to minimize deviations from standards and ensure the stated goals of the organization. Once you just say that goals of the organization are achieved in the desired manner, you tend towards effective management control, which is needed by every organization. But how to create it? In other words, what are the prerequisites of an effective management control system? These are questions of considerable interest and significance and have been subject to ceaseless debates. It is not that we intend to provide you cut and dried answer to these either. Here we attempt to highlight some broad consideration which should be borne in mind while designing top management's responsibility. Organization specific, we have to just look at the structure and delegation of powers and otherwise. Goal congruence, the recognition of the goal congruence is very important. Because it is such an impression that everybody has to have the motive, the motto, and the motivation for achieving the goal. You have to recognize it and then to achieve it. Goal congruence. Management motivation. There are certain motivational therapies which people are just giving to their worker so that at least they work happily. Unlike the old system where motivation was not that much, which is now we have. Fairness or objectivity. How far, how distinct it is fair. How objectivities are being addressed. How questions are being answered satisfactorily. Friends, with that, we have completed our unit number 1. And now we are going to start unit number 2, which is talking about strategies and management control. Strategies and management control. Let us look at the introduction. The introduction says that in the control hierarchy, the focus is on strategy formulation, management control, and task control. Strategies indicate the general direction in which an organization is moving to fulfill its mission, goals, and objectives. Hence, understanding the nature of competitive strategies is very important. There are a variety of models and frameworks which help us in understanding the concept of strategies and its planning. They also help us in the formulation of strategy. All right. But for that, we must have the missions and goals, missions and objectives. See, goals are defined as broad statement of what the organization wants to achieve in the long run permanently. And objectives are defined as specific statement of ends, the achievement of which is contemplated within a specified time. Many times these terms are also used interchangeably. However, both are subsumed under the term mission, which is indicative of the strategic intent and strategic direction of the organization. The mission is articulated based on the vision of the founders of the chief executive. Friends, the mission is achieved through a properly formulated strategy and action plan with an appropriately built mid-course correction system. Suppose there is any falling back. So even the mid-course correction could also be done. Thereby, mission, vision, and action indicate the interactive relationship between the strategy and management control. Now let us just understand the concept of strategy. The idea of strategy can be traced to the Greek word strategies, means the general's art. Friends, Stanford Research Institute defines strategy as a way in which a firm reacts to its environment, deploy its principle, now, what is the concept of strategy, friends? Once again, the strategy means the general's art. Stanford Research Institute defines strategy as a way in which a firm reacts to its environment, deploys its principal resources, and marshals its main effort in pursuit of its purpose. It may be observed that pursuit of purpose is a key word of this definition. Therefore, for strategies to be meaningful, a firm should be articulate it. One should articulate their purpose as well. The concept of corporate strategy was initially formulated by Kenneth R. Andrews. Strategy formulation is a process that senior executives use to evaluate company's strength and weakness in the light of the opportunities and threats present in the environment, and then decide on the strategies that would fit the company's competencies. SWOT analysis is the heart of the strategy formulation. Friends, in the SWOT analysis, we understand the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats coming from the environment or competition. It is the exercise of internal analysis to understand their own parameters, to achieve a fit between the organization and the environment. Thus, strategy formulation is essentially a fitting process to find an appropriate fit between the organization and environment. Strategy planning, because for every management, say, goal, you have to plan first. So for strategy also is a plan, specified plan. You have to plan first specifically. Strategic planning is a management task that is involved with an enterprise growth and future. Growth and future. Strategic planning can be an idea of chain of choices and movements that bring about powerful techniques, influence, help the enterprises accomplish its increased goals. The technique and principles used to determine and govern the organizational association in its dynamic surroundings are known as strategic control. What are the technique, subjects, steps in as mentioned below? What are the techniques? Determine your strategic position, prioritize objectives, design a plan, execute and manage the plan, review and revise wherever it is needed. Strategies and core competencies. Core competence is very important. The idea of core competence was formulated by Prahlad and Hammer in their article. Core competence of the corporation. It excels what adds significant value for customers. Okay. What is their base idea? That is called core competence. From this definition of core competence, it may be observed that core competence essentially means the strength of the company. Thus, the concept of core competence draws our attention to the first factor of SWOT analysis, strength. That is the strength factor. Strategy should be based on strength is an ancient quote used in the context of war between two kingdoms. In competency-based strategy, we find an echo of this ancient wisdom. What are the corporate level strategies? What we have to decide, the basket of bucket products. At the corporate level, the strategy issues involve the following decisions. Remain a single industry firm, single product, diversify in related businesses. Like Maruti, each pocket is being touched and affected, influenced. Diversify in unrelated businesses. Maruti, but with the accessories. Related, but again, their process is different. So whether it's a single product, whether the same product with different domain technicalities, or you are just diversifying in unrelated businesses also, different product, different services. Business unit strategy. Business unit means it depends what kind of, say, decentralization we have. The metaphor has implication for business organization, corporate level strategies. Determine the overall strategies, the direction of the organization, and battle for survival and market share takes place at the level of business units. Therefore, business unit's mission and business unit strategy assume significance in the overall scheme of things. Why? Because the business units of an organization have to face the competition heat in the marketplace. In the case of a single industry firm, the heat of competition is felt by both the corporate level and the business unit level. But if it is diversified firm, intensity of the competition heat is felt more at the business unit level, less at corporate. But in both the situation, business units must gear themselves to face the competition. In essence, it should focus on creating a competitive advantage for itself. Strategies and management control interface. These are interlinked. There is a close interface between the strategies and management control. The interface is indicated by the concept of interactive control formulated by Simons. A control system is essentially a strategy implementation tool. When viewed from the perspective strategy, control systems are coupled with each other. The information is such that when a control system generates meaningful and useful information for thinking, new strategies such a control system is referred to as interactive control. Friends, we may be having the radical performance improvement also and the management controls accordingly. And then the goal congruence. The goal congruence is very, very important because we have to understand a way of assisting to obtain the aim congruence amongst the shareholders and manager is by way of the introduction of carefully designed remuneration application for managers, which would motivate managers to make selections that have been regular with the goals of shareholders. Friends, once we are just with our targets within the department of a commercial enterprise, there are departmental targets. If reaching those numerous targets also result in the fulfillment of the goals of the enterprise as a whole, there is said to be goal congruence. So with that, friends, we have covered unit number 1 and 2 of MMPF 00T to MMPF 003. In the next session, we are going to touch the unit number 3 onwards next time. Thank you so much for patient hearing. I thank the COE and Region Center Noida also for beautifully coordinating the entire process. Thank you. Namaskar.